Hello. Welcome to the Sandcap Guide podcast. Here we are tonight. We're actually got Laura Ball here, who is a familiar face on the island. We've been had a business on the island since 1999, and during that time, we've serviced a lot of tourists, and we've had to mail lots and lots of things out over the years. Now, we have had UPS for a long time that come here, but over the years, we've always gone in to the post office, and Laura's always been there. So welcome to the Sanibel Captiva Guide podcast. Thanks for joining us. And just tell us a little bit, how did you get into working at the Sanibel Island Post Office?
Love to know.
Well, in the 90s, my father knew I didn't want to go to college, so he said you have to take tests. And my dad was a fireman, so he was into making sure you have some kind of secured future in a job, like a government job. So he made me take the post office test.
Oh, wow. What kind of test is it? Is it like multiple choice or what?
There's 3 parts. So one part is where it's column A and column B, and you have to see if they're alike or different. But you have like 7 minutes to look at 100 of them.
Oh, okay.
And the second
Laurie,
part...
only you would ask that question.
I'm so interested in
Who would
that.
ask what the test is like?
Isn't that fascinating? I mean, I didn't know if they had to carry some mail or something. Okay.
But funny story, my father thought that I was going to have to lift stuff to show that I can carry 70
and you're
pounds.
quite petite. You probably can't see right now, but you're how
I'm
tall?
4'11".
4'11". Okay,
so my dad says you have to take the post office test if you're not going to go to college, and then he brings a mail bag home with weights, and he wants me to go in the basement.
Had you training?
That's old school workout. Come on, let's work out. We're gonna bust some sweat to get in the post office.
Oh my gosh!
So I didn't want the
funny.
job, and I didn't want to do it, and so we fought about it a lot. I passed the test in the late 80s, and the post office had a hiring freeze back then.
Okay.
And so 5 years passed. By then I was working for the phone company, another job my father pushed me into. And I was a directory assistance operator, and I hated it. And the post office called me 5 years after I took the test.
5 years.
But by then I grew up enough to know that it was a good job, and I wanted to get out of the cubicle I was in, and so I took it. And I've been in the post office since 1992.
And then you were working up north originally, or where were you?
Yes, I got hired in Glen Cove, Long Island, and I worked there for 2 years. And I wanted to come down to Florida, and I could not get a transfer because everyone wants to come to Florida. So I actually resigned and came down and found out who was working in human resources back then, when there used to be a human resource.
Right.
And I started kind of visiting her, bringing her some cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And I was only down here like 2 months. I was working at South Seas at Captain Al's.
Oh,
and,
right.
This woman in human resource called me and said, do you think you could pass the test again? And I said, just give me 3 days to study and freshen up. And I passed the test, and I got hired on Sanibel.
Oh,
wow. So you've been there, how many years is that?
On Sanibel since 1995.
Wow, that's crazy. So,
I can't do math, but what is that?
26 years.
That's 26 years. Are you the longest serving person at this point?
No, I mean, no. Some of the carriers have been in there longer than I have.
Longer than you?
Really?
Yeah, we still have a few.
Okay, you got to hold on with this story here, because not that the post office isn't fascinating enough, but there's more to the story.
Okay.
But anyway, so you've got. So how many people work at the Sanibel post office? How many?
Pretty sure there's 19 of us.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Wow. And you must see a ton of different people, tourists, and tell us a little bit about some of the items that you mail. I mean, what's that you've got sitting on the desk there?
Well, one of the things I paint and I mail, you can mail, is a coconut postcard. So
Sweet.
Am I holding it in the right place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can just see that right there.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So Laura actually has a real coconut.
This is a real coconut. They turn brown and they fall down, so they're hard and they won't change their shape because they've already dried out. And I paint some kind of a design on it, and then a label that actually says from and to.
And
you
can literally
address it. We staple the postage right on, and you get a coconut in the mail.
No.
Just like
That
that.
is so fun.
Do you think the mailmen actually like those, or do they hate you for it?
I think when it goes to a place that doesn't have coconuts and they get one, they get a kick out of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
But when they go to a place and the guy gets, them on a regular basis, or the guys that have to pick them up here to send them out, they get mad when they're rolling around the truck. And I'm not sure how the people in the plant feel about them rolling around the conveyor belt.
Yeah, that would be so funny.
That's cool.
So, and you obviously, you sell them locally on the island, correct? So
I
where
do.
can somebody pick up a Sanibel coconut?
I sell them at Suncatchers Dream, both pack and ships, Tuttles, and then what's the name? That Priscilla's has something different. I do specific ones for her because she does a lot of women's empowerment.
Well, I noticed two of our sponsors there, supporters, Suncatchers Dream and Priscilla's. So please support them if you can. Go in and see them.
What is Tuttles? What is Tuttles?
Tuttles is up by the East End by the Lighthouse Cafe.
Yeah, right next door.
And they sell just all kinds of jewelry and knickknacks and signs and benches and really fun stuff.
Right.
A lot of nautical stuff.
They've been there for
forever.
long
Bob
time.
Tuttle's been there forever.
Right. So there's lots of good stories, I'm sure, about the island.
So outside of your life in the library, you've got
library.
Who said library?
In the post.
That was only like 6 episodes ago.
You know what? If they really like me, they would cut that bit out. But they don't really like me, so they will leave it in, and you will see that mistake.
If you want to get editing this podcast, you can do it.
What is it? A post office? There we go.
Yes, it's a post office. Yeah.
Okay, so outside of the post office, you've got some pretty interesting hobbies. Tell us a little bit about them. Although we've touched on that as well. We're looking at painted coconuts here for people that are listening and not watching.
Yeah. So I have two outside businesses. One is called Something to Wine About Paint Parties, and I started that probably in 2014 or 15. And I, when all the paint parties were big, you go. Somebody teaches you. I teach you how to paint. Yeah. From start to finish, a painting.
You start like a 16 by 20
canvas, and everybody paints the same thing. So whoever's having the party will choose what they want me to teach, and I paint with you. I have a sample showing, and then I paint with you. From start to finish. Yeah. It takes about 2 to 3 hours depending on the group and what we're painting. Right. And you drink wine and laugh and enjoy yourself while I teach you.
That's perfect. And you bring obviously all the supplies. You bring the canvases, the paints, the paintbrushes,
everything
easels.
Except food and drinks.
Okay. So they
So how many people can do it? What's the minimum and what's the maximum?
My minimum is 8 people and my maximum is 20 because I want to be able to be hands-on.
Right.
And so my maximum is 20. It depends. Like if I do them at Macintosh Books pretty regularly, and she can only fit 8 people in the room comfortably. Yeah. So that's the minimum, but it's also the maximum. But if I come to your house, depends on how big your house is. I have tables and chairs. I can bring my stuff with me if you don't have it.
Gotcha.
That's a great thing. I mean, we do photography, a lot of big houses on Captiva and all that.
That could definitely fit that many people.
In,
oh, yeah.
That many people when you get all these big family groups together, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And,
fun thing to do because everybody can do it from the kids up to the grandparents.
It's fun. In Kinsey Island, I did a family 4 generations. So the youngest was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
And the oldest was 90. And
how did the youngest handle his wine?
No, she didn't have wine, but the kids are uninhibited. They're not worried about the outcome, so they actually just go with it, and they'll finish the paintings before I'm even done teaching it because the grown-ups are like, oh my God, am I doing it right? They're so nervous. Yeah. And sometimes I've watched little kids finish the paint over it, and do it all over again before we're even done.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
but they're just completely into it without worrying about what people think.
So how can people find you about your paint parties? Do you have a website for that?
Yes, that's somethingtowineaboutpaintparties.com.
So
and it's
wine,
a really long name.
WINE,
yes.
Obviously.
Something to wineaboutpaintparties.com. And, or they can, call or text me.
Right. Okay.
We'll put all the information in the links below.
Yeah,
fantastic. And we did that once with your family, didn't we?
We did, and we
actually
had super
inspired one of our family members, Big Mike Dunn. He actually became a painter for several years after that, and actually really found a talent for it.
Yeah.
That's
a true story. That is true. Do you remember doing that, Max?
Yeah. Years ago, I was very young.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's awesome.
Definitely breaks the ice, I think.
It's so much fun. And so almost everybody starts by saying, you don't understand. I can't draw a stick figure.
Right.
And then they get hooked. And I have so many people that are just repeat over and over and over. And
keep
they're like,
hiring
when are
you.
you doing another one? When are you doing another?
Oh, that's
You
cool.
know, it's really fun.
That's cool. So how did you actually get into art? So obviously, I mean, it's such a juxtaposition, the post office and art. So
In junior high school, I had a teacher, Mrs. Mosner, and she saw how talented I was. I was a little bit of a perfectionist. I still am. So it would take me twice as long than the rest of the class to finish a painting. But she just let me do my thing. And at the end of the junior high school, at the end of ninth grade, she pulled me aside and asked me if I was interested in going to High School of Art and Design in Manhattan. And I had never heard of it. And I lived in Queens, and I said, okay. And so I had to actually make a portfolio, go take an art test and everything. And when I got accepted, my parents didn't anticipate me getting accepted. And then I have to take a bus and 2 trains to get to Manhattan to go to high school. And so that was like a whole nother thing. But they finally said, okay. And I went to High School of Art and Design because of that junior high school
Right.
teacher.
Wow,
Oh,
that's awesome.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's
And were you ever scared to take the buses and the trains?
No, my mom was scared. And
Right.
the first year she made me take an express bus that went straight to Manhattan. But then I wanted to be on the subway with my friends. So
Right.
no, I was fearless at that age.
That's awesome. Did you ever consider art as a profession, or your dad?
Until I went to
kiboshed that?
school. When I went to school, I wasn't as amazing as some of those. Like I was always
right.
amazing
In
until
your
I was
own-
around every other
everyone else
amazing
amazing.
artist.
Right.
And then I was like just another person. So that was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got scared of it. So when George and Wendy's opened,
Which is a restaurant
is a
down by
restaurant in
Bailey's
Sanibel.
grocery
We
store.
were there the other day having lunch.
Yeah.
George said to me, so at this point, I'm already painting coconuts, but I'm not painting canvas. And George says, I'm opening a restaurant. If you want to put canvases on my wall, you know, you can do whatever you want. And I was so intimidated by the canvas, but I said, all right, I'm gonna do it. And I started doing paintings. And in the beginning, people would, I gave my art away. I went to every fundraiser on this island. I gave my art away. I made no money for the
always
first several
tons
years.
of charity events where people need. Yeah.
And then he gave me this opportunity, and I started painting. And people would always say, you're the girl from the post office.
Yeah, they recognize you.
Now they're like, oh, you're the artist.
Oh, that's cool.
So
and it's still there today. You're
Oh,
still
yes.
all over the yeah.
my art hangs on the walls. Is Lacey McClary is another artist there, and I'm not sure if Stacy's work is still in there. I don't think it is. So it's definitely me and Lacey, and we have our art hanging on the walls. And I also have prints.
And can you literally take?
You can literally take whatever you want off the wall and pay
They'll
the
pay for it.
bartender and take it home with you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
nice.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be a
very
nice remembrance of your
Yeah.
trip to the islands.
I love to paint local wildlife and birds, manatees. I love painting birds. I love all their little feathers and their little face expressions. And
Do you do it from memory? Or
Photos.
you do take photos? Or-
I don't take photos. I
Right.
take terrible photos. But I usually see something that somebody posted, and I'll send them a message and say, is it okay if I
If I
paint
paint
that?
it. Oh, okay. So,
And then usually if they say yes and I eventually get to it, then I give them the first print as a thank you.
Oh, nice.
that's cool.
So if anybody has any great pictures, send them on to Laura.
Yeah.
She might get an original or one of the first prints.
Right now
Yeah.
I'm working on Rosie's Cafe. The mural that used to be back there when it was the Hungry Heron and the old Rosie's was my mural. It was my very first mural I ever
yeah.
painted. I don't do murals anymore. It's too hard on my body, but but it was mine. And they painted, somebody along the many
Line.
owners
Right.
painted over it. So now instead of a mural, I'm doing something similar to it, but I'm doing it on 4 huge canvases for the back of Rosie. So that's my big project right now I'm working on.
Oh, wow.
very cool.
And so
So-
if anybody doesn't know, Rosie's is on Palm Ridge Road and another
Yeah,
great
Palm Ridge
restaurant.
Road and
Well, that's where it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
On
Palm Ridge Road.
What's the intersection?
Library?
What's the side-
Oh,
side
on
of-
Tarpon Bay.
No.
Library Way.
Oh,
I think.
Library Way.
Library Way.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, go check
knew it.
that out. So do you have an art studio at your home? Or
I
you
do.
Oh, nice.
So one of the bedrooms in my house, I
Okay.
converted into an art studio.
There you go.
So
That works.
when I get really crazy, it's kind of like my art studio spreads across the whole house, and I'll have coconuts all over this room and canvases in the dining room, and it's just everywhere.
And I know you have a puppy. What is your puppy? Does your puppy like your? She likes the coconuts.
She wants to try to pick them up, and so I have to keep an eye on her.
Right.
So she's trying to pick them up and run away with them.
Oh, that's
she's
funny.
funny.
That's
I just
cute.
got her a couple months ago.
Right.
What sort of dog is it?
She's a mutt. I adopted her from the Labrador Retriever Rescue of Florida, which is my
cool.
favorite place to get my dogs. But she's part lab, but she's definitely got German Shorthair Pointer and Australian Cattle Dog in her. She's like super, super smart and high energy and strong hunting
Wow. Awesome.
obsession.
Awesome.
She's great. She's I just got her 3 months ago, and so she's going through heartworm and everything, but she's getting better, and she's just adorable.
Good.
Oh, that's awesome.
So show us. So you brought some of your just
a
smaller
little.
versions of your paintings,
Yeah,
obviously. So share with
It's
those.
just a couple.
So what's your preferred medium? Is it
acrylic?
acrylic? Okay.
Okay, so this is a
Just a
starfish.
starfish. These
Yeah.
are just prints on paper. The original's already sold of these, but
Yeah, that's a famous causeway.
Is that
Yeah.
is that real?
so
Is that rock real?
yes.
Really?
And I don't know
Based
where
on a
she
true
took
story?
it. Yes. So a friend of mine, her name is Dee. She took this photo and put it on Facebook, and I asked her. So I don't know. I have to ask
What
her where
angle
she
she
took
was
it
at.
from. I think she took it from Fort Myers, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting.
And I just recently started doing these ornaments, and I just sent her one to say thank you again
wow, that's
years
awesome.
later, because I painted this in 2015.
Okay.
I think just to be clear, Max is asking that because if you're listening to this and not watching, there's basically a picture of the
Causeway.
Sanibel Causeway, and there's a little cropping of rocks coming out of the water. So we'll have to look
the
out
bird.
for it.
Yeah,
and see
I
where
gotta
it is.
ask her. I'm gonna have to ask her where she took the picture. I might have made the rocks bigger than her picture, but they were still there in the
Right.
water
Yeah,
with the
no,
causeway behind
sure.
it.
Very
Creative license.
And then you
Yeah.
mentioned your ornaments. So same places you can
The
purchase your
ornaments I only have on my website right
Okay,
now.
right. So
Since
you-
it's such a short window, the stores didn't want to carry them
Oh, right.
right
for the
now.
Christmas.
Yeah.
So what is it on? It's an ornament.
It's
on a,
2 3/4, so 2 3/4 inch
Like a round
ceramic
disc?
disc,
oh,
and
perfect.
they print my prints on there.
This one's a
And
manatee.
that one's a
That's
manatee.
cute.
That's
and then you
awesome.
got all different ones that you can get.
Yeah, I have.
And now is that a different website than the
Yes.
wine about?
Oh yeah, sorry. So a year ago, my nephew designed
Cardinal?
an actual like e-commerce website. I think that's what it's called. So it's just laurajball.com. My name, Laura Laura J Ball BALL like baseball.com, and that's where I'm selling some originals, prints on canvas, prints on paper, my note cards. These are my note cards, which I also sell at Suncatchers and at Georgia Wendy's.
Oh, there's a little
And then-
bio on the back of
Yep.
that. So you get a little pack of cards with envelopes, and
8
then there's
cards.
a bio on the back. Mm-hmm. Not that you'll need it. Now you've heard
All
about
about
Laura
Laura.
on the Sancap Guide podcast.
Exactly. The talented
Yeah, and
Laura.
then the other thing I just recently started selling are these tote bags that
Those are
pack and ship on
cute.
Sandcap Road is carrying.
Oh, very
Oh,
cool.
those are
So they're
awesome.
a tote bag with the artwork actually.
People would love those for the beach and stuff.
Yeah, and they have the rope. They don't have a zipper. A lot of people ask that, but they're just great. They've
Carry everything.
Yeah,
You tell.
fantastic.
Great for a
Fantastic.
beach day on the
Mm-hmm.
island.
So a woman of many talents.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? It's funny because obviously we're not friends or anything, but we've seen each other over the years for
Many,
20
yeah.
years. We've been bumping into each other, but I found out something right before the show. And my best man and good friend Paul Hagcroft, Haddy, is probably the world's biggest Rod Stewart fan. So
Maybe the second.
maybe the second. But when my buddy's such a big Rod Stewart fan, actually, we went to Earl's Court and saw Rod Stewart playing with Max when Max was in Laurie's tummy in 1998 before we moved
Remember
to
it
America.
like it was yesterday.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember.
So Max has had him ingrained into him. But tell me, how many times have you gone to see Rodders?
At least 40.
At least
Yeah,
40.
At least 40 since
40.
the 80s.
If Hagcroft, if you're
Oh my
watching
gosh.
this, I need to know how many times you've been.
See if you can beat Laura on her record.
When he would play in New York, we had Nassau Coliseum, Jones Beach, Madison Square Garden, and the Meadowlands in Jersey, and he'd play 2 nights in each. So I would have no voice by the end of the week because I'd be at every
You would go to each one?
I'd buy every one of them.
What, eight concerts in a row?
In a row. I would be like, my hair would look like dreadlocks by the end of the week. I'd be exhausted.
Oh my gosh.
And have a
Did you have anybody that would go as many times as you?
Yeah, my sisters would go. I get my aunt to go. I get friends to go. Whoever would go with me. It didn't matter.
It's a different person every night.
Oh my gosh.
What, and
Love
you would,
him.
you fly to New York for it? Have you seen him elsewhere?
Back then I
When
lived
she
in New York.
Yeah.
Since I've been down here, I don't see him as often because it's like a whole day trip to go to a concert down here. You have to go to the coast.
Tampa
and get a
or
hotel.
Yeah, we don't have many big
So
concerts
I've
in
seen
Fort
him,
Myers.
Probably down here, I've seen him probably 10 times over the years, but
Right.
Wow.
it's just more of a hassle.
Wow.
And and
So
I work
Hackgraph,
now,
the
so I don't
challenge is
have
on.
the time like when I was in high school.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
that. That is so funny.
Yeah, so my buddy he would literally, you would think you'd seen it all, and then all of a sudden he'd show a picture of him playing football with him because Rod Stewart was a big soccer player.
Always hitting those balls out.
And his brother used to run a team in Essex, and occasionally Rod would play on that team. It was for, vets, playing older players. And one day, my buddy Hattie turns up, and he managed to he played against him against another team, and
You better take up soccer, Laura.
Yeah.
All these concerts, I don't even have a soccer ball.
You never got one?
Never got one.
Yeah.
I can't catch.
Oh
to
yeah, he
save my
kicks them
life,
out
so.
in the show.
And
Yeah.
you're pretty short.
Never got one.
Vertically challenged, I guess is the word.
Yeah,
Oh
That's
my
funny.
God. So obviously, do people still send postcards? I'm sure they do.
they do. I mean, people will always say, "Oh, no one sends postcards anymore," but yeah, we get hundreds and hundreds every day. We sell postcard stamps like crazy.
Right.
Really?
Really?
You can mail a flip flop. You can mail a frisbee. There's so
I think
many
she's
things
saying
you
with
can
a
mail.
with a message on it, not just for the.
Right. People literally will, buy a big
Used
rubber
or-
alligator and tape an address on it. You
I
know?
honestly did not know you could just send random things to the mail.
Hey, Max, this is going to be a TikTok series. We're going to do the most random thing you could send through the mail.
I've seen online there's services where you can deliver potatoes. Like you can buy a potato and have it shipped to your friend's house.
Really?
Really?
Enveloped.
Really?
Yeah.
So obviously you can't be.
They don't want anything destroying the automation machine.
Right. So
So,
it has
like
to be not
years ago,
vegetable.
everyone down here would mail the sea grape leaves. They used to write right on
Oh
them.
yes, I've heard about
But
that.
they discourage us from allowing people to do that anymore because they crumble in the automation machines and then they jam up other people's mail too. So it's
Gotcha.
just not. It's not everything's not done by hand anymore. So
Right.
they
Right.
discourage that. But if it's something that's going to stay intact, like a coconut or a flip flop or frisbee, and it's hard and it's not going to fall apart and
Right.
ruin anything.
All
then
right. So we
you can mail
challenge
it.
everybody out there. Find a random thing, take it to Laura at the post office, and mail it from the
My
Sanibel
coworker's
Post.
gonna love
Yeah.
I just found a picture of Dirk Nowitzki, the basketball player, had received a picture of himself painted on a potato.
That's hilarious.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Without a box.
Actually, when
It looks like there may have been a bag involved. So I may be wrong on that front.
There was when I was in my early 20s, I worked for an insurance company, and we sent out a mass mailing, and somebody must have been sitting there and opened my letter during eating their breakfast, and what they did is they got the return address envelope and put their half-eaten toast back in it and mailed it back to me.
That's funny.
Like stop
That's hilarious.
spamming me.
That's so funny.
Yeah. What's the most random thing you've seen mailed? Is there any funny stories from the?
At the post office, is
Post
there
office?
humor at the post
Trying to
office?
think.
Do you guys have fun at the post
We
office?
do have fun.
Okay.
I love my post. I mean, I've been to a few post offices, but I love this one. I love my coworkers. We're like a big family there.
Yeah.
We really
And
are.
obviously you
even the
get to know-
carriers and clerks get along really well.
That's
and
good. And you obviously get to know all the customers too.
I love my customers. Every year we see them come back, and and then sometimes we don't, and that's really sad.
That's sad. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know everybody on this island. It's just, I just enjoy being up there with the public.
That's
Not,
awesome.
not everybody likes to deal with the public. People are crazy, but I love
on it.
interacting with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody go see Laura.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we have one more thing to talk about, which actually prompted me to ask you to come on the podcast, is your manatee. Tell everybody about the manatee, how you got involved in that, what it's all about.
Sure. This is a picture, a little sneak preview of my manatee. Her name is Hey Mrs. Postman. And So Community Housing Resource of Sanibel is having a fundraiser. This is the second year that they're doing the Manatee Madness. And they gave out this year, I think, if I don't know, don't quote me, but I think 26 artists
I thought
got
about that,
a 3-foot manatee to paint or decorate the way they want to. And then they're going to auction them off on April 1st at, I think, Mudbugs. And that money is going to go for affordable housing on Sanibel here.
Oh,
Which is
sweet.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you do with not being funny, but once you buy them, are they mailboxes or?
So no, last year they did mailboxes. This year they did these 3-foot manatees.
So they're kind of
I
like
guess,
the babies this year.
Yeah, the babies, and some of them can be put outside. Mine, I did a decoupage medium, and so I would say whoever wants to bid on mine will
Put
keep it inside.
So you
But
can put on
Be great for a restaurant or something. Or,
Right.
yeah,
or indoor porch or.
so they haven't told me where it's going to be displayed yet, because they'll have them on display somewhere before
Around the island.
over the time until April.
Right.
But so they gave me a plain gray manatee, and my coworker Katie had suggested doing something with a postcard theme. And I was like, that's a great idea. And then I was going to paint it right on the manatee, but I thought if I paint each postcard on paper and then decoupage it, it gives you the texture too of actual mail. Mm-hmm. So what I did is all the designs, all the pretty designs are actual original paintings on paper that I decoupaged. And then in between, I went online, and you would be amazed at how many people post written sides of postcards online. Just posted them there, so I figure, well, they're there, so I could print them.
Right.
So I printed all these postcards that went all over the world.
Wow. Okay.
very
That's very
So I
cool.
have the printed side and my painted side, and then in between that, I printed all kinds of old. They're not real. They're just printed pictures of U.S.
Stamps.
postal stamps, and I decoupaged the whole thing head to toe with mail.
That's
And
super cute.
I just love the idea of, I just love the mail. And, I know less people mail than they used to, but still people love to enjoy getting a letter or share
Absolutely.
something exciting with each other, and how we all stay connected through something so simple as sending a letter.
Yeah.
So that's, so I named her Hey Mrs. Postman,
Yeah.
like the song, except
Yes.
she has eyelashes, so I made her a girl. So.
Awesome.
Super cute. So
awesome.
basically, once the artists have finished, they're going to display them around the island, and then CHR will actually put out a map, I believe, that you can actually go and visit all the manatees and check them out, and then eventually we'll auction them off
Yes.
for the affordable housing.
Very cool. Very
that.
cool. Very cool. Awesome. So, Max, what have you got for us? Have you
Here
got
comes
some?
trivia time.
I've got a little trivia today,
let's see.
shockingly. Today we're going for some the post office
no
themed
fair.
trivia.
Well,
Mom,
that's not fair, is it?
You were talking about all day how much you know about post office trivia. I don't want to hear it. It's not fair.
Okay.
She's
It's
been
not-
researching about post.
She's been all.
post office.
Oh, do I know about whatever?
I was busy looking up the library, but
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Question number 1. The current post office on Tarpon Bay Road is what iteration of the Sanibel post office?
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not the
you
original.
have to
How
explain
many?
this.
Kind of. So it's not the original post office. How many
Obviously.
other post offices have there been?
I can't tell you. You have to tell me that.
Yeah,
I think I know.
I think I know.
Yeah, she's been researching.
Of course she has.
Joke.
That's why she's asking questions about the post office test.
I was interested in
Don't
that.
tell us about the post office
That's so
test.
Don't you
funny.
think that's in? I mean, who knew that you actually had to take a test?
I did not know that.
Okay, what's the answer, Max?
Oh no, hold on. What did you
hold
put,
on.
Laura?
Did you get one?
Oh, I guessed. I'm not positive, but I wrote 4.
I put 8.
I put 3.
Yeah, of course you put 8. Yeah, Mom's right.
8? We had 8 of them?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I knew about Ferry Road, and I knew over Easy and ours, and I thought there was one other.
Well,
I
it was
didn't
like
know.
the Nuts was the first one,
Right.
and then it was
the Cooper
The
House?
Reeds. The Reeds was next.
Will read that blew down
Embarrassing.
in
I should know
hurricane.
this, right?
Yeah,
And actually,
then-
if you want to visit the post office, you can still visit one of
Sanibel
the
Historical?
The Sanibel Historical Museum in Village actually has one of the post office
Yep.
that was here on, and it was I think it was Will Reed's. Something blew down, and then they took all the-
reassembled his house.
reassembled.
Blew down. They reassembled his house as the post office with mismatching boards
Right.
because that's all they could find, and
Yeah.
reassembled it into a post office.
Yeah, and it's a tiny little hut, so I can't imagine the
wow.
person that actually had to stand in there all day.
Yeah.
All right, 1 point. Woo!
Looks like we read the same article.
Have you finished telling Laura about the post office? Come on, can we get on with this, please?
All right. The 7th post office
Oh, jeez.
was also on Tarpon Bay Road.
No, it wasn't because there was only 3.
What is it today?
Over easy.
Oh!
I think we may have points across the board. Points across the board.
All right, what did you get, Nick?
Suncatchers Dream. No, over easy.
Over easy.
Thanks,
You know-
Laura.
Laura, so far in our
not-
trivia, I've been the only person to sabotage myself. So I thank you for joining me in that.
It's the New
Make
York
sure you
in
go
me.
to
It just
while we're
comes
talking
out.
about that. Make sure you go to the over easy. They have the. I always get the over easy extra special egg sandwich. Very
Yes.
good,
I did the
very good
same thing
breakfast.
in our episode with Tatum Stewart, the fishing guide. I gave away the answer as I was reading the question. It ruined me. It ruined me.
All right, it's still 1-0-0, just so we know. Okay, go ahead.
As far as I can tell, the longest running postmaster was William Reed, who came after the Nuts and then someone else. You think he was the 3rd postmaster?
Ask Laurie, she'll
Only
know.
you know, Max.
And he served from the year 1900 to what year?
Oh, now this is too hard.
Yeah, I don't care. Last episode, you guys got all the questions right. So,
So 1900 to
I
how
needed
long
you guys
would somebody,
to lose.
Well, Laura's been there 27. Is that right?
Since 95.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
I know.
Is
exactly.
there-
Which,
is there
do you
a
know, I'm not
postmaster
sure about the
anymore?
month, but
who's the postmaster now?
yeah, that
right
was-
now, Terry, our postmaster is Terry, but she has been on a detail for over a year. So
What does that mean?
Sometimes they go on a detail where they do a job in another office, and a higher job or an equal job to help out in another office. So Terry's been helping out in several different offices over the last year. So Carrie Kennedy is my supervisor, and she's only been in the post office for not that long, maybe 6 years or something, but she moved up pretty quickly because she's pretty quick to learn, and she became our supervisor. And then when the postmaster went on her details, she fills in, and she's what they call the officer in charge, OIC, and she's been doing a great job for the last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so this is how long did Will Reed serve as postmaster?
Yep.
All right, Nick, what you got?
Why do I have to go first?
I'll go first. I did a total guess, 1923.
I said 1943. He was a career man.
For 43 years?
Yeah, he was a
at the
career.
post
He was
office?
career. It's nearly as long as Laura.
I'll say 1940, but I'm just making it up because I have no idea.
What'd you write down?
1940.
She just
right.
wrote it.
Cheater!
Laura wins. It was 1940.
I just guessed that.
It was 1940.
I was
Guess
snagged
that.
because now I said.
No, you know what she did? She heard your guys'
went up.
answers and split the
I did
difference.
exactly what I did.
That's calculated, strategic trivia play,
Like
and I will
to an
allow
actual correct answer?
Yeah, that was 100% right.
That's so
1940,
funny.
40
years
years.
as postmaster
So you
general,
got-
or not postmaster general,
Right.
postmaster.
Master of Sanibel.
Wow.
Sanibel.
So you got 13 more years.
And then
to
his
stay on
sister,
to beat
or
Will.
not his sister, his daughter carried on for a while too.
Wow.
I read a lot of
post office
history
about
today.
Sanibel.
Honestly, I haven't.
So we tie, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Ring the bell. Laura.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Woo, high five.
All right, so well, I'll give you a high five just because you stole my answer.
But I gave you one.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
So we're even.
Yeah, we're even. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks for coming on. What about, so just real quick, what was the name of your website? Laura J Ball.
Laura, yeah, my middle name's Jean. So
Link in bio.
laurajball.com, and that's where I sell my art.
Instagram?
On Instagram, I am Sanibel_artist.
Okay.
And
Any others? TikTok? Anything
Facebook,
crazy?
Laura Ball, Sanibel Artist on Facebook.
So basically, yeah, if you Google Laura Ball Sanibel.
Or
If you look in the
I don't know
description in the podcast, you will see
Yeah.
all
or
of the
stop in the
information.
post office.
Or stop in the post
Stop in
office
the
and
post
say hello.
office and she'll be there.
And try and mail something really random.
Yeah.
Like a
can't
big
wait.
manatee or something like you've just
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Not live.
No.
No.
All
right, Dad, close us out.
Thanks very much for coming. Much appreciated.
Thank
It was
you for
great to have you
inviting
here,
me.
and thanks for finding out a little bit more about you after all these years of bumping into each other. I want to thank Captains for Clean Waters, our favourite charity. Please check them out. And our supporters, Bailey's General Store, actually, we just had a video that came out about Bailey's General Store. Go and check it out on YouTube, and please make sure you like and subscribe, because there's going to be plenty of content coming up soon,
including my vlogs every day.
Oh, Max has started daily vlogging as well.
Not every day. Not every day.
Not every day.
Sanibel, a day in the life of Sanibel. If you're missing Sanibel, come watch. We'll see what we do on Sanibel.
There we go. So check that out. So Bailey's General Store, Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grill, Spoondrift Island Bowls, 3 Crafty Ladies, GatorBites Tail and Ale, Priscilla's of Sanibel, Coco y Cabana, Suncatchers Dream, and Sanibel Carts. So thank you very much to our supporters.
A long list.
And have a wonderful Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.